We're getting closer to primary season, and I got to say, I'm a big proponent in not telling you how to vote and letting you make the decision for yourself. But I think my role here is to bring you the options. So, one option, if you live in the Upper West Side and you're interested in your candidates for Congress, you have Jerry Nadler, who has been in office since 1992, who I hope will come on this program and talk about why he should be given another term. We also have 26-year-old Liam Elkind, and one of the reasons why I wanted him on this program is because I saw his launch video, and it's exactly everything Democrats need to be doing in this new Trump era. And I think that a lot of Democrats are stuck in the old way of communicating, and as you're going to see with this launch video, Liam knows how to get attention. Here that is.
The Democratic Party is dying. We're losing votes.
The last 8 members of Congress who have died, all of them are Democrats.
The suffocating gerontocracy.
Older incumbents should step aside.
Losing elections.
Why are Republicans doing a better job of electing young leaders?
Losing our democracy.
Democrats are not taking this issue seriously, but they need to.
And the leaders who got us here are refusing to retire with devastating consequences.
Roe versus Wade is overruled.
In the last 5 months, 3 House Democrats passed away, allowing Trump's billionaire bill gutting health care and food stamps for millions of people to go through by 1 vote.
The motion is adopted.
The same people are using the same old tactics, but they're losing. They're telling us to give them 10 more years in office, even as they say,
I'm not sure there's much we can do about it. We will have to wait.
Really? I'm Liam Elkind. I'm a community organizer, Rhodes Scholar, and nonprofit CEO. I was born and raised in New York City and went to public school here. And when COVID hit, I didn't wait. I put my phone number on a flyer and started delivering food to seniors and others in need.
Invisible Hand CEO Liam Elkind.
Over 10,000 volunteers
to shop for the city's most vulnerable.
More than 20,000 deliveries in New York City alone.
Soon, thousands of volunteers stepped up to join me, delivering food to tens of thousands of people.
Liam helped thousands of seniors just like me.
If you called the government hotline and asked for help getting food, they said to call me. But people's lives shouldn't depend on one person picking up his phone. Our leaders need to answer the call now, and they aren't. So today, I'm respectfully asking my Congressman Jerry Nadler to consider retiring. I appreciate his 50 years in office. I grew up voting for him, but we need new leaders to meet this moment because we can't wait. We can't wait to actually fight Trump, end corruption, ban corporate PAC money, impose term limits, build more housing, and serve our neighbors in need. I'm Liam Elkind, and I'm running for Congress because we can't wait.
So if you're interested, there is a donate link below for Liam, and here he is. Can you talk to me a little bit about what you meant to convey, and not just in what you believe, but how you made that video, I think, so attainable to anyone online?
Thanks for saying that. Yeah, I think that the Democratic Party right now is facing a bit of a crisis where a lot of our leaders feel like, showing up, casting a vote, posting a 4-page press release on Twitter, and then asking for $10 is a job well done. And we can just call it a day. And that's not the reality that the rest of us are living in, right? I think a lot of us are feeling really tired of getting emails that say, donate $10 to me by midnight, or I'm going to murder this cat. Like, that's not a compelling message for anybody. And especially at a time when we are ceding ground every day on these social media platforms, on YouTube and TikTok in particular, to the far right. They are running rampant on these platforms. And we do not have right now the kind of infrastructure that we need to be combating their misinformation, their disinformation, and their vile hatred. But you fight fire with fire, right? And that doesn't mean vicious hatred that they are espousing, but it means advancing our own message. And it means being able to combat on every platform where voters are. We see young people slipping away from the Democratic Party each and every cycle. And we need to be able to speak to their concerns and speak with their vocabulary and speak on the platforms where the people are now.
Yeah. And, you are young. You're 26. I think you're just constitutionally capable enough of running. And you don't have political experience, really, which to me is an asset. It's not a hindrance. I hate this whole thing in establishment politics where where you have to rise yourself up into the ranks of like you start at like the local level, and then you maybe potentially get a city council position, and if you're lucky there, you know, like there's like this path to run, and then you like wait your turn, quote unquote. But that's all bullshit. And I know that because I worked on Senator John Ossoff's race, who, by the way, his only qualification for that was running for Congress and losing, and then he ran and he became a senator. And I mean, not to discount his experience, which I think life experience is the experience that you need to run for office. And quite often, I think being as close as some people are to it makes you actually not as good as a candidate as other people who actually have experience of just living life. And so I love that you said to yourself and your community, hey, I'm an option. And you're not saying you're the only option or you're the best but you're an option.
No, thank you for saying that, man. Yeah, I don't think Congress is hurting for a lack of lawyers right now or a lack of former state reps. And, you know, look, I believe that there are people who have experience in the state legislatures across this country who would be excellent members of Congress. That's one path. But I think we often as a party over-index on that and think that's the only way. I actually think that's a little bit insulting to members of city councils and state legislatures if we're just telling them this is a stepping stone to get to something else. Like, that's its own job and it matters. And actually these days, members of state legislatures are actually a whole lot more effective than members of Congress. I think our members of Congress could be learning a thing or two from what's actually going on in the state legislatures. So, you know, we need people in office who have the experience not just of being in office, but who have the experience of the people that they are seeking to represent. I think we need more public servants in office. I mean, my background is as a nonprofit leader, literally just organizing thousands of volunteers, especially in COVID, to deliver food and medicine to people who needed it. And actually for months, if you called your government and said that you needed help getting food, they would say to call my personal phone number. And the idea that our social safety net, our government, would refer you to a 20-year-old college kid, tell you to call him, let this guy figure it out, that's ludicrous to me. We need a government that's answering the call. And so if we continue to elect people who have been prioritizing their own reelection and not been prioritizing actually serving the people, that seems like a strategy that is doomed to fail. And if we as a party are more concerned with protecting our incumbents than we are with protecting our people, then we're going to continue to lose elections. And frankly, I'm not sure that that's a bad thing. We need to be a party that is deeply rooted in community. And we need to be advancing a vision that is about finding and funding and scaling the solutions that are working best for people, not just indexing on, well, whoever's been around in office longest must be the best person for the job.
And Jerry Nadler, who you're running against, how long has he been in this job? Is it the 80s? The 90s?
Yeah, he was first elected in 76 to the state legislature.
76? That's before I was born.
Yeah, and he was in the state legislature then, and then he was elected to Congress in 92. So he's been in. It's a long time. And look, I am grateful for his service. I grew up voting for him, and it's not a personal knock against the man. But we are in a new moment now, right? When he was first elected, Gerald Ford was the president, and rent in New York City was $500 a month, and my mother was 9 years old. And now rent is almost $5,000 for a one-bedroom apartment. We've lost to Donald Trump.
Is that the average in New York?
Yeah, for a one bedroom in Manhattan.
Wow.
Almost 5,000. It's nuts. And my mother's almost eligible for Social Security. Not that she looks at, love you, Mom. But like, that's a problem, right? We as a party need to address this. And there are a number of structural reforms we can make in the party. There's a number of governmental reforms we can make. But the bottom line is that our party needs to be addressing this moment and needs to have a forward-looking vision, not rooted in the past.
For folks who live in your district and might consider voting for you, how would you be different than Jerry Nadler? Because I think maybe the issue, I think a lot of folks will say to themselves, well, I know Jerry Nadler.
Yeah.
He's a known quantity. Liam, I don't know who Liam is. I've heard about him for about 7 minutes right now.
Yeah.
How would you be different? And in what ways would you be the same?
Yeah, look, again, I really respect the congressman. I think he has done a good job. But at the end of the day, this is not just about having progressive values. It's about being able to implement a progressive vision. I've taken a no corporate PAC pledge. He has taken hundreds of thousands of dollars of money from corporate.
And why does that matter?
From corporate landlords. I mean, well, look where we are, right? We live in a system that is completely beholden to corporate interests. In the last quarter, the incumbent took money from Fox frickin' News. Like, I think that we need to be fighting Fox News, not cowering to them when the fight gets rough. I think we need an outright ban on corporate PAC money. So that's one way I would be different. I think we need term limits. He's been in office for 50 years. But more broadly is about what are we going to do in these next 2 years? Because these next 2 years will be decisive for the party and for the country, right? We have basically one shot left to get our country back. And if you think that your government, your party, is doing enough right now to stop Donald Trump from kidnapping children off of our sidewalks, then we have a difference of opinion. I think that this community deserves to know that the next time a kid with cancer is disappeared off of 68th and Broadway, that our congressman needs to be on that corner in the next hour with a megaphone demanding that child's release, needs to travel to whatever foreign gulag the president has decided to stash that kid in. Like, that is the job right now. And if you can't do that, then you can't do the job in this moment. I went up to the congressman at a Democratic Club event, and I said, what's the plan? This was before I was even thinking about running. And how are we going to get back power? And he said, I don't think we need to worry about it. Trump's going to crash the economy with his tariffs, so we'll do very well in the midterms. And I said, okay, what do you think someone who's not in elected office should be doing right now to fight the rising tide of authoritarianism? And he said, donate to the DCCC.
Come on. Did he really say that?
He did. And that answer isn't just dispiriting, it's insufficient. Right. And I think that in this moment, we have to, if we want the country to change, we have to have the courage to change.
If we want the country to change, we need the party to change. If we want the party to change, that means we got to change who's leading it. Yep. And again, like you said, I think Nadler has a great public servant. But part of being a great public servant is knowing when it's time to hand over power to the next generation. And I think, I don't think you should just be able to, I don't think Liam, like, I wouldn't have had you on if I was just like, well, Liam's young.
Yeah.
We got to but I actually think that the job of a congressperson is to vote and write laws. But I think the main job is actually communications job. And I think that's more important now than ever. And so to me, when I saw your launch video and I saw the way that you instantly understand what it takes to get attention in what is now an attention economy, I think that is a very valuable talent and skill that the Democratic Party needs and lacks. And I think truly because we don't have digitally native representatives, we are really failing to get messaging that sticks on Donald Trump because we don't know how to actually get messaging out there so that people see it and want to share it.
Yeah, like the days of strongly worded letters are over, right? No more 8 strong questions to a president who's never read a piece of paper in his life. Like, come on, what are we doing here? We are not just the minority party. We are the opposition party. And that can look like a lot of different things, right? That can look like messaging on social media. That can look like lobbying or organizing or boycotts or protests or meeting each other's material needs or denying the Republicans a quorum, as we're seeing them do in Texas, or launching discharge petitions, or refusing to confirm any one of his corrupt and unqualified cabinet nominees. And yet our senators are still voting, to confirm Trump's new nominees. This is a different moment. And I recognize that a lot of our leaders came of age when bipartisanship was the spirit of the day. And that's lovely. And I pine for that. And I hope that we can return to that. But we are in a fundamentally different moment now. And if you're 30 years old, you have never been eligible to vote in an election where Donald Trump was not on the ballot.
Wow.
This is a different world we're living in. And I do think that young people are not just necessarily the best people to shove into elected office, but we do have a different understanding of the way that the world works because we've grown up in a different world.
I want to talk about the mayoral election because I saw when you launched that. I don't fully understand why you got so much hate. It feels like you got a lot of hate online and people are just expecting you to be like this moderate Republican, insurgent that's covered in blue, but really you're like a Trojan horse.
Stooge, yeah.
Yeah. And I guess point blank, like, do you support Zoran Mamdani for mayor?
Thank you for asking. And yes, I do.
Okay, because for some reason, it was a lot of questions about you not supporting him. Like, what do you think about Cuomo running as an independent after the voters said Mamdani?
Yeah, look, Zoran ran an exceptional campaign. It was energetic. It had generational change. He brought out 100,000 new voters to the polls. Like, that is the kind of messaging, the kind of energy that we need. And he was laser focused on affordability. And as a young guy who desperately wants to be able to afford to raise his family in the city that raised him, that resonated with me. I think you're right. Like, the time to litigate our disagreements, we have a conversation in the primary, and then we move forward as one team to the general. Do I disagree with him on stuff? Sure, of course. That's what politics is. We're allowed to disagree with each other, but we move forward as one team. I think the entire federal delegation should get behind the Democratic nominee. That is what we do as Democrats, because the enemy is at the gates, and we need to be fighting them, not sucking up to Donald Trump.
Is it true that I haven't been as close to this as I'm sure you have, but is it true that Schumer, Jeffries, they haven't endorsed Mamdani?
To the best of my knowledge, at 2:14 on the Saturday, yes.
That's kind of incredible.
It is. I think that we should be one team as a party. And, like I said, we fight it out, and then we move forward, and we are one team at the end of the day. So yeah, I'm backing the Democratic nominee. I think everybody should be. And it's kind of bewildering to me that we are not able to unite after this primary. I think it only serves to further divide the party and allows Trump to try to wedge his own stuff into our elections. We have to be a united front. The stakes are too high.
All right. So what do you want folks to know? Let's say they're Liam curious. What do you want folks to know about you, your campaign, and what they could expect from you as a congressperson? Yeah,
look, I think you're right that a lot of it is about communication, and that being a congressman in this day and age is not just about showing up and taking a roll call vote and calling it a job well done. The job of a congressman right now is not only to show who you fight for, but how you're going to fight for them. Our party used to be one of builders and protectors and fighters, right? We built the New Deal. We protected civil rights. We fought the fascists. And now we aren't building. We aren't fighting. And the only people we're protecting are our own incumbents. I think that we have to be a party that is building housing and building transit and building universal health care. A party that is protecting civil rights and protecting immigrants, protecting Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, and a party that's fighting, a party that is fighting inequality, fighting corruption, and fighting the fascists. That is what I'm hoping to do. I want to be able to build a vision with other members of Congress across the ideological spectrum of the Democratic Party and all its beauty and confusion and fighting, to say that we are the party of builders, protectors, and fighters that this city and that this country deserve and need.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. Is there anything else you want to say or anything else?
Yeah, I guess I would say that, what the president and his merry band of corrupt lunatics have done is going to have real world consequences. There was just a report out from the Center for American Progress that said that 76 people a year in my district alone are going to die every year as a result of this bill. This has real world consequences, and we need leaders in this moment who have experience serving the people, who have experience fighting food insecurity, to be able to address this moment. And I'm grateful for the work that you're doing, man. I think it's really important, and we need to start coming together as a party and having important, intense conversations about what we stand for, and then deciding that we are going to move forward as one. So I'm really excited to be in this race. You can go to liamelkind.com if you want to see more, or follow me across the socials. There's a lot more where this came from, and we're just getting started.
But thank you for coming on. I think it's incredibly, I think it's just great that you're using new media. You're talking to folks where they are, not where you want them to be.
For sure.
And I wish you the best of luck. Good luck.
Thank you, my friend. It was really nice chatting with you. Let's stay in touch.